You like my new deck? So I got this so I can stand up and walk around and I don't have to sit in the little chair with the little rickety table. So yeah, this was my first project this summer. It had ugly wood grain stuff on it, so I covered it with our obnoxious colors. So now, yeah, and I can make the lights change color. Fun stuff. Yay. Anyway, it's handy. So everything's in it now. So I can just roll it into the closet at the end of Tuesday. So we got this fancy deal now. Yay, new stuff. All right, so we do have new stuff. Even for those of you who've been here forever, and for those of you who are brand spanking new, this should hopefully answer some questions for you. And we're gonna try to make it quick. And we'll do a Q&A at the end, but if something comes along and you're like, just yell at me and say, I don't know what you're talking about, or can you explain that? No, we'll go there, okay? So yay, so what are we doing this year? We are going to go over these things tonight. We're going to talk about our daily schedule, where to find stuff, and what we do for lab, and what we do for weather and COVID and all that. So I wanted to share this first. So who are we? This is our group here over the last couple of years. I got pictures, and there's our 4 main ones. We never got a good picture of my first group on the stairs like I did with you guys. The only one I have is this Christmas one of them. So these are our junior labs this year. Mitchell should be here just to step in real quick and grab his stuff. His dad came home earlier than they thought, so they're spending some time with him. Now, Darcy and Lewis are in gray because they're going to be doing artios this year, and their mom's not sure how much work they're going to have. So they probably will not be in class for the first quarter, and they will likely trickle back in at some point, I'm hoping during the first semester. But they're going to kind of follow along at home. But we do have a really small class then because we've only got Mitchell and Cal. We've never had one quite this small. So if you guys have friends, we still have room. And I have taken juniors as late as the end of first quarter. So you guys know that because we had 2 that trickled in last year pretty late. Juniors, I can do that with. The upper level kids, that doesn't work so well because, you know, that's all the content is for credit and you really can't miss a whole quarter of it and then consider it a credit. So, and plus you won't know what's going on. There's just too much to build on. And then this is our upper class, and this is the largest we've had. I typically stop at 10, 12 at max, and we have 13. Savannah has a possible maybe going on. She apparently is taking advantage of that Dexter Mosley deal where you can do an activity at a public school because she wants to do drama there. So she is figuring out what her schedule will be. So she's not 100% sure yet, but hopefully she will be here. So we got new people here. These are all our returning. Caitlin's new. James, I don't know what says new. That's wrong. You're not new. You're not new. Alex, okay, so we'll get to brownie points in a minute, but Alex sees everything like right away. It's almost embarrassing for me. Anyway, James, sorry about that. Caitlin is new, but Caitlin is James' sister, so we've seen her around before. Parker is brand new, Parker, and Parker knows you guys. No, the Jollies. Parker knows the Jollies. That's right. So not completely new to everybody here. And then Chloe and Milo. Does anybody know Chloe and Milo? You do? Okay. All right. Well, okay, good. All right. Well, they're not here tonight, but they will be here. And I think is it Cal that's missing the first day of class? Or
he might.
Yeah.
His sister might take him.
Okay, there you go. All right, there you are. So, but the rest of the time you can expect these folks to be here. So yeah, very full at 13, very full. But we're going to do fine because a lot of you I know, so I can take a couple extras because so many of you are returning that it's not as much effort because you guys know what you're doing. So that's why I limit, because it's just the space isn't so much a thing as it is just the fact that you got to follow up with everybody. So our little background information, this is our first full cycle. So I do Earth, Physical, Chem, and Bio, and I cycle them every 4 years. We started with Earth, so we are back for the first time. So we've made our first 4-year jump, and now we're back to the beginning of our cycle again. So that's kind of cool. Well, what did I do?
The first biology class is 2022 to 2023.
Yeah, see, this is why I love you guys. The Bensons miss nothing. So I am the queen of typos and things. So
my name, but that's cool.
Oh, you did again? I did it again.
Yeah,
it's fine. One of my best friends has the K. So between you and her, it's like,
My name changed so much.
It's all right. Yeah, all right.
But at home, there's no brownie points with her.
There you go. She didn't do it. She didn't play your game. So I went back and counted since we've done our first 4 full years. We've had 48 students at one point or another that have been enrolled at some point. So we've had a couple that were only, last year we had 2 that were here for like sporadically for a couple of weeks and then they bailed. But 48. We've had 3 go from the junior group to Alliance, which is a good thing. And we've had 2 that have moved on to college and 1 that is currently about to move into the nursing program at UNG. So this is great. We're pleased with that. And so this is how we're going to stay informed. This is how we know what's going on in class, how to keep in touch. So there is a new email address for me. You'll notice that. There's a new email address for me because we have switched some stuff around on the back side of things that most of you don't have to deal with. But we're about hopefully 2 days away from getting our LLC, which is a big deal. So we've had to change some stuff around. So we went with this. So I have now an extension from my website, but my old email does work, but if you guys try and send everything here, it will be helpful. So then you guys, how do you know what's going on? Students, it's going to be in your syllabus, which you're going to find at the front of your binder, which you'll take home with you tonight. There's a weekly email every week. You guys know this. It's the follow-up from whatever lesson. So if we did lesson 22, it'll be a follow-up lesson 22. It'll go over a little bit what we did in class, and it'll have your next week's and the end of this week's expectations there. And Teacher Ease is our online portal. Everybody should have gotten an email from Teacher Ease to welcome you into the platform. We'll go over that too. But you can always look there, and then you can always email and text me, but try to copy another student. The reason for that is it's a safety thing. I'm a grown person. You're not a grown person. So if you're going to contact me, copy a parent or another student if you can. You guys don't always do it, and it's not been an issue, but it's a smart thing to do. The only other thing that's different for parents is we have that Facebook group. That's not where official information is going to come, but if I need to get in touch with you fast, like I was like, hey, y'all want to ditch the grill thing and go with pizza? We can do that. That's not somebody I need to talk to right now. So yeah. Somebody asked where Ozzy was. Oh, he's down here. He's asleep on the floor. Okay, so was it you? All right. Fastest way to reach me is always by text. So if you send me an email, like I can't get through question 12 on my exam, I may not see it for like 2 days or whatever. So always text me if you have a question. And the announcements are the things that are urgent. They go to everybody immediately. And that's an urgent thing, like, oh, there's ice on the ground, we're not having class, that kind of thing. So we do have Twitter, Facebook. We have 2 different YouTube channels. The one of them, this one right here, is for students only. That's our like private one. You can't search it, basically. You can't search it, but if you have a link, you can watch the link. So the links are not private in that if you share the link, someone else can watch it, but nobody's going to happen upon that channel. And that channel is where you'll find all of the classes. We record every class right through Zoom because there's always somebody that's not here. So every class gets recorded, every class gets put on that channel. So if you miss something, you can go back and watch the whole class. And then we have our Instagram too. And the Instagram and the Facebook are completely linked. I need to link the Twitter in too. All right, so what are we going to learn this year? All right, so I found this from another science teacher on how to make good science lessons. So I'm going to try to incorporate as much of this as I can in every lesson. I liked her bit about teaching science as a story, and I think we do that a lot. And the biographies, I know we definitely do a lot. We talk a lot about the science people. And so a lot of this we're already doing, but I'm going to see if we can maybe try and do a little more with it. Make it a little more conscious. So this is our first quarter. So our first lesson is going to be this intro lesson. Then we're going to go into mapping, and that's the end of unit 1. Just like always for you, those of you who've been here, unit 1 is usually like, it's just the first couple things. So unit 2 is our first real get into stuff. So we're going to do a lot about rocks and matter and change and that sort of thing. Fall break is going to be the 27th. That lines up with Forsyth County, so we won't be here that day. Now, here's where it gets a little interesting. So I'm going on vacation. My family's going on vacation. We're doing the homeschool thing, going when nobody else is going. We're going to Nova Scotia, actually, to where my grandfather's hometown was. And we haven't been since I was little, and my mom hasn't been in years. So it'd be nice memories. So these 2 lessons, 7 and 8, are going to be virtual. I will have recorded them for you. They will be completely online. And the way we're making it, hi, are you Mitchell? All right. Hi, I'm Miss Danny. How are you? Nice to meet you. If you want a piece of pizza, we still have some left And if you just want to snatch your binder, Ozzy, if you just, it's like new people came in. If you just want to snatch your binder and run, it's on the stairs in the front. So whatever you'd like to do, make yourself at home. Yeah, sure. So these lessons here are going to be virtual. Like I said, we're actually going to do one lab out of the 2 lessons. So we're going to skip one and we're going to do one. And the one we're skipping is actually an extra credit lab. If they're all labs you can, Oswald, Ozzy, come here. Hey, come here, place. Come on. Good. Sit. Yeah, weirdo. So anyway, they're both labs you can do completely at home. They're got like the paper lab thing where you get the data and everything on the lab. You don't have to actually run an experiment. So one of them you're going to do, and the other one, if you want to do it, it's extra credit. So when we get into unit 4 now, we're in second quarter. And this is when we do a lot of the weather stuff. This is super fun. Now, the last time I did this class, I brought a little portable weather station, and students were supposed to take it home and like get the data from it and share it. And it ended up coming back in somebody's backpack, and the LCD screen was completely shot, just crushed. So this year we have a big weather station, like we're going to mount it, and it's a big one. And it actually goes to a website that you all can go to the website and gather the data from there. It'll be cool. I'm excited about it. I got like a mounting pole and like all it has. It's really neat. So we're going to be doing that. And then we have our bit about oceans and marine environment. Now we do have, like always, our midterms in class, followed by our little party, and we'll watch a fun movie here. I don't know what. And then we'll be on Christmas break. Now we get into second semester, third quarter. These are fun. These are super fun. The plate tectonics one, my favorite lab for this class is the plate tectonics one, because what we do is we do a lab with tomato soup and Ritz crackers, and you can totally see the way convection heat works, which is what causes the continental plates to shift. It's the convection heat inside the mantle. So it's really cool because you can actually see it. So if you like tomato soup and Ritz crackers, then you get to eat some. And if you don't, you get to watch other people eat it. So that's the way it works. And then we go on, do some geologic time. And these are fun too. All right, now these next 2 labs that are coming up here towards the end of unit 7, this is interesting the way we do this. So for labs, what we do on these days is we're going to watch 2 movies that deal with global warming, climate change, whatever you want to call it. And they are completely in opposition to one another. And it's a lot of fun because when you watch the first one, this is An Inconvenient Truth. This is Al Gore's big thing that like made him super, everybody was like, oh, he's the guru of climate change now. This was pre-Greta. So anyway, you watch that, you get the data from that. Everybody's going to take notes. There's questions to answer. And then the following week, we watch this one, which Great Global Warming Swindle is a BBC production. And it takes the data from Al Gore's thing and completely shows where he's wrong. And this wasn't right. And so it's really interesting because when you really start thinking about it from a scientific standpoint, it's like, okay, can the same data be interpreted in different ways? Yes or no? Is data being displayed accurately? Does it make sense? And then you start getting into questions about the people behind the data. Are there forces behind the data that are causing it to go one way or another? Like, we really want to put this out to the media, so share this part, but not that part. And it gets really interesting because if you get into it even more, you can find other documentaries that completely undo the Great Global Warming Swindle. And then it becomes this like snowball going down a hill. So I love putting these 2 together. The last time I did it, I had kids that at the end of the first one were like, oh my God, we are all going to die. Like we're all going to drown. And then a week later, they were like, wait a minute, we're not going to drown. So it's interesting. It's really fun to do that. So then we get into the space stuff, and this is way fun, our 4th quarter. So if you like space, like I'm wearing my moon landing. I love this lunar landing dress. It has pockets. So when we do this, it's really fun. These are all fun labs. It's all fun stuff. I like this. I love the space stuff. Now, your final project this year, going to be a little different than the way we did it last year because grading got kooky and there's way too many of you this year. So the way I'm going to do it is your final project's going to be due before your exams, but it's parts of it. So I'll show you in a minute, but your final project is this year, it's to do like an advertisement of some sort for like from a travel perspective, like you're a travel agency, and it's fun because you can choose any of the places we've gone over this year or any other place that relates to them. So you can pick an actual like geologic structure somewhere that's interesting. Like, do you want to go to Mount Rushmore because that's carved, and what does that mean? Or you could say, well, we're going to go to Mars. And when you go to Mars, you have to write it from a perspective as if someone could really travel there. And you have to put a certain amount of factual information in it, but you can also embellish. Like you could say, we have an awesome roller coaster here on Mars. And then you could tell me about the roller coaster. And so there's multiple ways to go about presenting it. And we'll go there and tell you that in a minute. So we will do the presentations on the last day, but I'm going to need to see most of people's actual like paperwork and stuff beforehand. So our daily schedule, it goes like this. My juniors come in first from 10 to 10:45. Then we all move to lab together, everybody together. It's exactly the same as last year, nothing's changed. And then my upper level kids stay after lab, and we go from noon to 1:30. So lab's gonna run from 10:45 to noon, and that's gonna be like that every day. If there is a change, there may be a slight shift when we get to those 2 back-to-back documentaries, just based on the length of the documentary. There may be a thing where I'm like, hey, can my senior kid show up 10 minutes early or something like that? But I will let you know way ahead of time when we get there. And then of course there's a shift in schedule when we do exams, midterms and stuff, but it's not a major shift. So Spanish classes, it looks like Jackie's only doing Spanish 2 this year. And we're trying to figure out how to make this work because some of the kids are in this class and some of the kids are in the other class, but there's one Spanish class. So we'll figure it out. All right, so assignments and where to find them. All right. So there's this thing in science called redundancy, right? If you've got a system, you want it to be redundant. Say you have a telephone system, you want to have backups, right? That's what redundancy is, backups, more and more ways to go about accomplishing something. So there are lots of ways to find your assignments. So nobody should ever be like, oh, I don't know what I was supposed to do, because you will know what you're supposed to do. So where do you find them? At the front of your binder. The very front, when you get it, is going to be, there's a little preface and some stuff. And then there's this syllabus right here. And it will tell you juniors are going to be on this side, seniors on this side, tells you exactly what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to read. This is from last year's, this is from last year's bio class, but that's what it looks like. And you get that at the front of your very front of your binder. Everything in your binder is your first quarter. And then I will give you second quarter. And your binder looks pretty big for just holding 1 quarter, but that's because you're supposed to keep adding to it, because when you get to your final, you're going to want all that information in there. You really are. So the next thing, at the beginning of each lesson is exactly the same thing that was on your syllabus, right on the first page of every lesson. So everybody should know where to find that. At the end of your weekly email, there it is too. Exactly the same thing. Now it's 3 places. And then of course, when you go on to Teacher Ease, if you go to the little assignments tab, there it will be. And this one says, sorry, there's no assignments because there wasn't when I took this screen capture. But yeah, it'll tell you right there what your assignments are. So there's lots of ways to go about finding them. Why did you do that again? There, it shows you where they come in. All right. So labs, how do labs work? The cool thing is, if you've talked to any public school kids, or I don't even know about private school kids, but I know public school kids, they get a couple labs a year. I mean, really, just a couple labs a year. We get a lab every week or nearly every week. And that is really something that's exceptional about this group. You really get to know your equipment. By the time you get to college, you understand how to work a burette or whatever it is that, you know how to deal with your Bunsen burner. And that's because we've been doing it for a while here. And I think that's important. So our first quarter lab teams are as such. And where are they? There they are. So here you go. Now you know who you're with. So what we do is we have 4 teams for lab, and we will have captains on the team. And I try to mix them up, but your captain will have to be somebody who has been here before, who is an upper level student. This first semester, it's going to be an upper level student and somebody who is returning. After that, it can just be an upper level student. They don't have to be returning. But just for first quarter, it has to be somebody that's returning. And basically that person is responsible for making sure that all the information gets to all of their teammates. If somebody's absent, that person is the one you go to get your information. On our website, we have a private forum that you log into through what's our password this year?
Rico 2223.
Rico 2223. There you go. Log in there. And you will see your lab team has its own individual little thing on the forum. You click on it and all your other, everybody goes and adds themselves to it. Everybody should get the message when you're like, hey, I was absent. I don't have my data. So even if your captain isn't the first one there, somebody will have it, which is great. It's all there. So weekly work expectations. What are you doing when you're not in class? What do we expect of you? So in between classes, right? Go check your syllabus. So you have your reading, or you have, for lab, for example, usually your labs are handwritten. Sometimes we do them online. Sometimes you have to go online and get information or whatever. There've been a couple like that where you had to go to the forum because like with biology, we were growing cultures sometimes, right? So they're not here every day to look at their culture. So I'm uploading pictures to their forum so they can go and get that information. And for your testing, you won't have a test every week. You have a test at the end of every unit. So it's not every chapter, every lesson, it's every unit. And your test is a maximum of 60 minutes because it will cut you off. You get 60 minutes and that's it. And the tests are almost always done through our portal online. So with tests, I prefer you to study and do them closed notes. But I'm technically not your teacher, even though I'm your teacher. Your parents are your teacher because that's how it works in this state. So if they say open book or open notes, that's their business. That's your business. I'm just going to grade it how it comes. It doesn't matter to me how you did it. Okay. So you won't have more than 60 minutes though, because it will just cut you off and you're done. And then, oh, do your thing. Next, we are going to have, come on, click. Okay. Weekly lessons. So this is where you're going to do most of your reading. All the information is going to be in your syllabus. Sometimes it's usually a whole chapter. Sometimes it's parts of a chapter. On a rare occasion, it'll be 2 chapters. And that's when we need to like catch up. So I try to align the junior lessons with the senior lessons so that the labs are cohesive and make sense. So basically we have like if the trajectory of the senior lessons is not always identical to the trajectory of the junior. So sometimes the juniors are going to go from chapter 3 to chapter 12. And that's because we're aligning. We go pretty much exactly how the textbook has it for the senior group. So if you have a junior and you're like, why are we suddenly in chapter 14? It's because it's aligning, because they didn't necessarily put them in the same order in the book. And then we have homework. Homework is almost always, not always, but almost always through the portal. And it's usually pretty quick. It should take you 5 to 20 minutes. It's the check-in basically so that I know what you're doing and that you're following and you're keeping up and you're not lost. Whoop. That was too fast. Your maximum outside of class should not be more than 3 hours. Realistically, you're going to have an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on if you're a slow reader. If you're spending more than 3 hours outside of class on science stuff, you need to tell me and we'll figure out what we need to do. That's a lot, right? Unless you're working on your final or something, or your project, you're studying, those are exceptions, but weekly, you know. So we've got, during class, we're going to review lessons. We're going to do diagramming. We'll do basically lessons will be like this. I'll walk around, we'll talk, whatever. We're going to, sometimes I do like a little lab or a little concept that I'll exemplify. And then we have our in-depth discussion and I'll let you know what's coming on your test, right? I always have you that, show you that little thing when you have a test. It says, here you go, right? This is what's on your test. So communication every week, you get the, like I said, you get the follow-up email, tests, labs. Usually I give you grades within 48 hours unless something crazy is going on. And like I said, always copy parents. You can go through the Wix portal. Online work, tests and assignments. Now there's this thing here called manual grading. The reason this is important is because sometimes there will be an answer, like on your test, you're supposed to type in a word or something, or like, for example, your homework assignments will look like, it'll say quiz, but it's not graded as a quiz. It's just the setup through the system. And there sometimes will be a question where you have to answer with a word. And I will type in that the answer is manually graded. And that's because you may not have the same word as somebody else, or you might not spell it right. So when you see that, if you put in what you know is the right answer and it comes back as wrong, it'll say manually graded as the answer. That's why. It's not wrong. I'm going to go back and fix it, but I need to look at it for everybody. So that's, sometimes people freak out the first time they see that, like, why do I have 3 of these wrong? I know they were right. No, they're not. And then this is the biggest issue with homeschoolers all over the planet. When you hand in work, what do? Put your name on it. I've gotten good at recognizing handwriting, but some of you guys have the same chicken scratch. I mean, I swear it's like identical. Yours, I know. Yeah, Alex hands up with this. Yeah.
Pretty recognizable.
Yeah. Some people's is really like Sydney's was really was really neat and perfect. But you know, some people, yeah, no, yours isn't. I love it though. It's fun. It's fun. It's like, where does that word end? I love it.
Yeah, Chad looks at it, goes,
Uh-huh.
read this for
Yeah, what does this say? Right? So put your name on it. If I need things handed in, over there where the cupcakes are, there are 2 folders. One of them says junior, one of them says lab rats. It's real easy. Just put it in the folder. Sometimes people put them in the wrong folders. We figure it out. Now, this is the other big thing in orange down here. If you're going to hand in anything digitally, whether you're emailing it to me, whether you're sending it through the portal, you have to put it in PDF format. I spent multiple hours converting assignments to PDF format, and I should not be doing that. So if you don't send it in PDF format, I'm going to send it right back and say, nope, try again. I have a whole tutorial on how to put things in PDF format in your binder, like a step-by-step WikiHow almost for how to do it. Brownie points. This is Alex's favorite thing. So I make lots of typos. I do. And I try to find them and fix them, but my ADHD kicks in and I lose them. So you earn a brownie point anytime you point out a typo to me. So if you see one, you're like, oh, that's wrong. Like, I'm not going to, the class has not started, so I'm not counting the one you got. It's not happening. So
We don't know who you're.
There's 2.
I had 2, I know. I keep track of them. I have a little thing and I keep it in the weekly email too. It'll say juniors have 13 points or whatever, seniors have 5, whatever it is. When your class gets to 25, I get you actual brownies. So this makes it so that you actually read things. You really have to, because there will be brownie points somewhere. And in the past, to make sure people are actually checking their email, because sometimes homeschoolers are also really bad at checking email. So to make sure they do it, sometimes I will hide something in the middle of the email. It'll say, like, if I say such and such a word in class next week, I'll throw candy at you if you clap your hands or something like that. So there, it's almost like Pee-wee's Playhouse with the word of the day. If you remember that, grown-up people, it's like that. Like, I'll just say some random thing like, oh, I'd love a cup of water in the class. And 5 kids look around like, what the heck? You know, and that way I know people are actually reading their emails. So yes, actual brownies, yay. So late work, this happens. So you can always turn in your homework when you get back. But the best thing to do if you know you're going to be late is to do it ahead of time. That's a great idea. Like if you know you're going on vacation, the great thing is unless you're at the end of a quarter and you don't know what's coming next, and pretty much you do, because I usually get those out to you like 2 or 3 weeks before the other quarter ends. So there's no excuse to not know what your homework is going to be, right? Get it done early. Tests are always available for a full week. As soon as you leave class, that test is available. It actually becomes available at noon, like right in the middle of class. That's when it clicks on in the portal. And you have a full week and your 60-minute time period. So anything in there is flexible. You can do it any time of day. You can do it at midnight, doesn't matter. So if you're planning to be gone, work ahead or let me know. If you're sick, you can't miss, if you're going to miss class, you can always, like I said, either watch online or watch the recording later. But if you aren't physically able to hand in assignments, just submit them in PDF format, either through the portal if you can, or if not, you can email them to me. Most things you can send through the portal. And don't text me pictures. I love when people do that. I did my work. I'm like, that's great. Now I have to take that, copy the JPEG, get on my computer with it, paste it on in Word, then turn it into a PDF so I can, no, not doing that anymore. So you can show me that you've done it, but then you still got to email it to me as a PDF. So the other thing, when you email the PDF, this is how I like you to do it. So if it's, you have to put your last name and your first initial. And then like, this is lab 20, for example, this is homework 20. This is lab 24, homework 24, but it's last name, first name, assignment, and the lesson number. So homework, lesson 12, whatever, just like that if you can, but you've got to get the last name, first name, because people don't put their names on them. They just send them to me. That's fun because what I do is I take them all and I put them all in a to be graded folder. And then one day in the week, I open the folder to do the grading and 5 of them have no names. That's not fun. So, and it has to come from you, not from your parent. I've had some parents that are always the ones that send the assignments. Here's so-and-so's work. I need it from you. And unless you're sharing an email with your mom, that's cool. Like I don't know who sent it, but if you're a relatively grown person and I know you have an email and it's coming from your mom's account, you send it. You're big people. Most of you are pretty big people. So again, like I said, with late work, let me know if it's going to be late. If you don't let me know, it's going to be late. Now we're doing something a little different here. So y'all should pay attention. So this is the way we're going to do late work. I'm not giving credit after 8 days. I used to give you time, a little more time, unless you've got something going on. If you've got something going on, you know, somebody's big toe fell off, whatever it is, you know, something like that, then I will deal with it, right? That may have been you in the past. Is that why you're going like this? That's so funny. So if it's a day late and you haven't told me, you just don't hand it in. Like some people walk out the door with it in their binder. That happens almost every week. If there's something to hand in, somebody walks out the door with their binder. So if you don't hand it in that first day, it's going to be 5 points or 5%ish, depending on what the assignment is. A week, it's going to go to 10. And then if it's more than 8 days, I'm not going to take it anymore. So now you have just a week. I used to give you like 2 weeks and it got ridiculous. So you guys can handle it. I know you can. Inclement weather, this one's easy. If if this county's closed, we're closed. We're doing it online. If your county's closed, you're closed. You're not doing it online. Anything else weird happens, like that day they were digging our internet, we had no internet. And I was like, hey, gang, guess what? We can't do anything. We are dead in the water for some of this. So, or we have no power, no water, whatever. I will let you know. So my COVID policy is pretty lax. If I would like you to, if you are not vaccinated, to take precautions. If you are vaccinated and you're fine, whatever, at this point, the vaccine doesn't matter anyway, it seems. So, yeah. But the COVID policy was in there with your tuition. Everybody that got the tuition letter, you saw it was in there, and it basically says what we just talked about. We basically treat it like a community covenant. If you've been exposed, we expect that you're going to behave appropriately and not come in and expose everybody else. And that goes for everything too, not just COVID. Like if you're around somebody who has a stomach flu, don't come to class. Like, I don't want it. Nobody wants it, right? That's not great. Remember that when COVID first hit, that whole homeschool co-op over in Cobb County got it, or Cherokee County? They were like the first ones in the area that got it. And it was in the news, homeschoolers have COVID. And I had friends who were like, is this your group? No, this was not me. We did not do that. So anywho, we're not going to beat those ones, are we? So what's Rico? So for those of you who are new, you don't know about Rico yet. So Rico, this is our little mascot guy here. Okay, this is Rico. And the first year we started, we picked him out and I let the kids name him and they named him Rico the Rat. So Rico, if you have a question, you're just raising your hand.
Say if you have to stay home, you can live stream.
Oh yeah, it's always live, or you can watch it later. Thank you, honey. So Rico will be watermarked on the back of your homework page in every assignment in your binder. So that homework page, sometimes we'll have an assignment on it, but rarely. Most of the time that assignment's going to be in your portal. But on the back side is this little watermark of Rico. Every week there's a different theme. Some people live for this. Some people never do it. Some people live for this. You can color Rico and do him up like the theme and put your name on the other side, not on the Rico side, because I don't want to judge looking at your name. And then if you have the best Rico, I give you a piece of candy next week, because good job. I had a kid that was online 2 years ago. Every week there was another Rico. She lived for Rico. That was her thing. Live for it. Yeah. See, those are good ones. I had a Snape Rico once. I don't even remember what those were, but they were good. Oh, that one was Ariana Grande. Yeah, because she had the, so yeah, always fun stuff with Rico. Oh, I just clicked that button. Where'd it go? We were here. So yeah. All right, almost to the end. Grading. Okay, grading's a little different this year too. So our scale didn't change. Grading scale is the same, but the way we're weighing assignments is going to be a little different. So our homework and our binder work is going to be one and the same. It's 15%. Now, how do I know you did your binder work? If you're answering questions in class, you probably did the work. And basically the binder work it goes along with the reading. It follows the reading assignment and you can fill in stuff as you go. It helps you kind of outline things. And sometimes it's extra stuff, which is fun. But if you have your binder with you in class, I know you've done your work because you're looking at it. But if you don't bring your binder to class, I maybe don't know how you did. Class participation is 5%. That's the same thing. If you're paying attention, you're good. If you're falling asleep, what do? What do we do? New people, unless your parents say, no, please do not shoot my child with the disruptor, then you will be safe. Otherwise, it's fair game. If you fall asleep in my class, I will shoot you with the disruptor and it will disrupt your sleep pattern and wake your butt up. Unless you're Ethan and I miss you and hit Sydney, which was not fabulous. She was what? She went like, it's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. But it still woke Ethan up because he went. That was great. It's usually my senior group, and it's because they eat lunch. So if you're a senior group, we eat lunch after lab. You can just eat right here in class. Everybody sits on the couch, eats their lunch, and then you get this wonderful little blood sugar thing, where you kind of want to, the whole post-lunch siesta business. If you think you're going to sleep, sit on the floor. It's a big floor. You're less likely to sit on the floor. I bought comfy couches on purpose. I've seen almost everybody close their eyes. Mhm. Guilty, at least guilty. Yeah. I've seen everybody at least almost once. So we're going to bump the tests up to 48% for unit tests, and then midterm and final project. I'm only dropping 1 grade this year, and it's your lowest lab. I'm not dropping any lowest tests. It's your lowest lab. Now, of the 4 sciences I do, if we're talking about difficulty level, conceptually, this one is easier, I'll say, than some of the other ones. I would say this one is easier. Physical's a little harder. Chem's probably the hardest concept-wise. Biology, somewhere between chem and physical. But concept-wise, when we get into stuff like redshift, it may be a little more complicated, but there's no reason why you guys should be worried about losing it, like having a test dropped. You guys almost always do well on tests. But I will say this about assignments though, and this is kind of my general rule. I had a professor say this when I was in college, and it made perfect sense. If you can't turn something in because you have an emergency, like I said, always tell me. His reasoning was, when he was in college, he had a friend who like drank too much over some girl that was breaking up with him and got on his motorcycle and wanted to go off and have a conversation. And he was like, no, don't do it. And he spent hours keeping his friend off his motorcycle and didn't get his work done because he literally had to sit with the guy for like 4 hours to keep him from doing something stupid. And he didn't turn his work in. And his professor was like, well, it's a 0. And he's like, well, I basically tried to keep my friend alive all night. He's like, too bad, 0. And that's not cool. So I won't ever do that. I know you guys don't have friends on motorcycles. I hope not. But but you know, always tell me. So for extra credit, few people take advantage of this. Some people take a lot, you know, like really do this. Most people don't. So if you have a test, you can go to the like test review part of your textbook at the end of every chapter, and you can answer questions there. So you can answer up to 3 of those and submit them to me for extra credit, but you have to tell me like what it was. It's the unit 4 test I want extra credit on, and I'm answering question 13 on page 274, and I'll go, okay. And if you answer those questions correctly, you can get points back that way. This is a great thing to do. I mean, it's a lot of work to do every time there's a unit test, but say you had one you just bombed. It just was not your day. Like you waited to the last minute to take it and it was not your day. This comes in. It gives you a chance to kind of redeem yourself. You can't get more than 105%. So even if you get like all of them right or whatever, so not more than 100%. So recovery plan. This doesn't happen very often, but at the end of a quarter, first, second, or third quarter, not fourth, at the end of a quarter, if anybody slips below a 70, I will send an email that says you are eligible for a recovery plan. And it'll basically say, if you want to pull your grade up, there's things you can do for me. And if you respond to the email and say, yes, I would like a recovery plan, then I send it to you as a contract, essentially. I'm like, these are the items that are due. This is when they're due. There is no exception to any of it. You do it, you have to like commit to it. Basically, we agree to the contract. You're saying you'll do the work, and I'm saying you'll get this much credit back. And if you do it, you get credit back. I've had to do it 3 times in 4 years. And one of them was somebody had a really bad quarter. And it's a great thing to have. This is about skinning your knees, not breaking your leg, that kind of thing. All right, so your online grade book, there's a whole tutorial for this. There's a whole video for this. I'll make sure everybody sees it. It walks you through how to use it. You go to the grades tab, it can show you your grades. Oh, look at all these people. I took their names out. So you can see what they're getting. You can see your grades on there. It's great. And I took names out here, but you can see like the assignments are listed. And like right here, this one got dropped because it was lowest. There's little gifts. If you see them, that means I'm going to excuse it for you. Sometimes that'll happen. If it's a lab or something like that, if it's a lab we did in class and it's not one you have to hand back in and you weren't here because something happened, it's probably going to get excused, that kind of thing. Yeah, we did that. We did that. I just blew it up. Oh, come on. All right. All right. Progress reports are going to come at the end of every quarter. At the end of first quarter and third quarter. You'll get a report card at the end of second quarter and then fourth. Final project, here it is. Okay, this is how it works. It's assigned to you days ago, right? It's in the grade book. And it's in your binder, which you guys all had online access to, so everybody knows what that looks like. It's going to be due between 5/9 and 5/16 because parts of it are due on different days. And the details are all in your preface, and it's a tourism advertisement, and it's actually fun. And it looks like this. the grading rubric is also in your binder. So exactly what you're gonna have to do and exactly how many points you get for it. Yeah, you guys like this. Yeah.
We're gonna be car salesmen.
Uh-huh. Grading rubrics are excellent if you've never had a grading rubric before, but it tells you exactly how much, like there's a category and points you earn for it. So you know, going into it, you pretty much know what your grade should be from the beginning. Like if you're missing some aspect, you know exactly how many points you're going to lose for it. And it'll be fun. And it's in your preface in your binder. So fun opportunities. This is our last thing. So for field trips, if anybody wants to arrange an outing, we did go to the mine, Consolidated Mine, the last time we did this class. It has to be something that's not during regular class time. If a parent wants to help run it, that's what I need. Somebody like that that'll step up and go, I'll help you do it. And that's always something we can do. It'll be like on a Saturday or a Friday or whatever day we decide to go so that we're not sucking up class time for it. But we can always do that. And then in class, parents are always invited to come to the Christmas party and come for the final projects if you can. They're usually really entertaining. So yeah. And the last time I did this one, it was interesting. I had websites. Somebody made a website. Somebody made a magazine, had several like brochures. I had a whole video about going to the moon. Like this kid did all this animation in the video. It's really fun. If you like to just do creative stuff, you can do that. If you'd rather just like write it out, like this would be a radio ad and this is what it reads. You can do that too. So I won't ever make anybody get up. Like I have one kid that never got up for all 4 years I had her. So I always read her stuff to everybody. So that's basically it. Now I want to know, do you have questions that I didn't answer? Did I miss anything? What do we want to know? What? What? Huh? What? Huh? They're going to be car salesmen. Do any new people have questions? Is there anything you want to know? What, Drew?
Can you partner with somebody for a final project?
Maybe. Probably. I've allowed it in the past. It's going to depend on what you're doing. If you have something that would work as a team, yes. Now, the thing to remember about this is when you work in teams with people, everybody gets graded the same way. So if you do all the work and your partner does jack, you're going to get the same grade and he or she is going to get the same grade as you. This is why group projects are always really fun. I will say you learn a lot when you do a group project, basically. You learn a whole lot about other people and about yourself. So sometimes it's a great idea. Sometimes it's a terrible idea. So it depends on who you're working with and what kind of project you're doing. If you're just writing something, it probably won't be so great. But you have a follow up to that? Or are you good? What else? Anybody else? Newer people, older people? Yeah.
Online access is all information in their binder.
Yep. And it's also, if you go on our website, there's a little tab that says Class Connect. And if this is the great thing, if you hit that tab, it'll bring you, you have to use the password, which is what again? Rico 2223. Last year it was what? Rico 2122. Oh, we figured it out. Okay. So if you go there and you type that in, it'll take you to a page called All the Links. And all the links are there. It's the link for the YouTube channel, the link for the forum, the link for watching live. It'll have live broken down by class and everything is there. And if you're not able to watch live, you can, usually within 3 hours, the videos are uploaded. I have to take them from Zoom and then they have to process onto my hard drive and then I have to upload them to the YouTube channel. So sometimes it takes a little bit, but they're usually uploaded within a couple hours. So you can always watch it later. And to get credit, class participation credit, and this is in the binder, what do you have to do if you're not here to get class participation credit? What do you do?
Comment on the video.
Comment on the video. Hi, this is Mitchell. I watched the video. There's your 5 points. It's easy.
Tests are online.
Tests are online.
What about the midterm in December?
Those are paper. Now the midterm and the final are paper. Good question. So what we do for that is I set it up to be a little scary. Basically, it's a little more intimidating than some of their other tests. And I want that experience because I think that's very important to have a more high pressure thing. You're going to have that if you go on to college or even if you go to a job where you have to have some kind of certification, you're going to have some kind of testing where this is it. It's in front of you and you can't take a bathroom break, whatever. You can take a bathroom break during my test. I don't care. But like when you go to take the SATs or something, it's crazy. Like you put your phone in a box when you come in, all that stuff. So those are on paper and they're mostly fill in the bubble. And then there are questions to answer. Sometimes there are diagrams to complete or whatever. several pages usually. And when you come in, I have a little water bottle for you with a little Smartie attached to it. And I'm like, here's your bottle. And make sure you have a pencil and you can sit anywhere. I've had kids that sit in a corner on the floor. That's fine. I've had kids that sit at a table, wherever you want to sit. I don't care. And you even have a cover sheet. If you're not comfortable, you can work under with a cover sheet is fine. So those two are the paper ones. I try to get them graded while they're here. Usually with the midterm I can, with the final, I don't usually get the opportunity to finish it because I'm watching projects till the end. Follow up or?
His sister's graduating from college in December.
Great.
so
Okay.
I already know that date.
We can send that to you PDF.
I mean, I'm happy to bring him early.
No,
but however
You can
want it.
proctor it. If you would like to proctor it, I will send it to you. So then it'll be to you and I'll say, this is for mom. Mom gets it. And whenever you want to sit in for it, you print it, sit in for it, and then send it back as a PDF and I will grade it. And that way I don't care if you do it in the car, it doesn't matter.
And they're not
So-
timed, right?
That one's not, well, it sort of is, but not really. It sort of is in that, like, if you're taking the Spanish exam, you can't spend all day on that one, you know what I mean? But most everybody does them within, what, you got an hour, guys? I don't think I've had too many, maybe an hour 10 for somebody, not too long. And those are the people that go back and forth and back and forth.
They put it on a Tuesday. I don't know why they put graduation.
Where is it?
It's Georgia Southern.
Oh.
She said Georgia Southern.
Okay, well, Tuesday. Less traffic, easier hotel access? I don't know. Yeah, it's no problem. You'll proctor it for him. I've had that before too, not graduation, but I had a funeral once or something where I'm like, here you go. Here's your exam. So, and I had COVID once where people had to proctor from home. So,
Thank you.
of course. Yeah, you guys proctored all three because they had the flu. Yeah, you took it with the flu. I remember. Yeah, and it was easy, right?
I sat the two down at 10.
Mhm.
She was still asleep, woke her up, gave her Tylenol. It's like, are you up for this?
No.
No, but let's do it. Okay, here we go.
And she did, you did fine. The thing with my exams is, I will ask questions that you have to think about. I'm doing that more and more now. Questions where if you understand the concept, you can now apply it to answer this question. But a lot of it, like the stuff that's vocabulary and things like that, I tell you exactly, do I not? I tell you exactly what's going to be on it. And most of the questions, unless they're the thinking questions, if it's a vocabulary question or whatever, if you have watched the slides, it's almost always right verbatim. So, and I'll tell you, you need to study the following. And if it's a big thing, like a midterm, what have we done? We do Jeopardy and you have access to that. It's online Jeopardy. We have slideshow. We have two different slideshows. We have one where you can look and then click and then the answer will come up. So like you can wait before the answer comes up. And then others are just all the answers on the page. Like here's the word, here's the definition, here's the word, here's the definition. And then the other one, you can sit there and go, here's the word. Do I know the definition? Click. I was right. So, and we've also done, what else have we done? Pretty much what we've done, right?
The chicken.
Oh, the chicken, yeah, we have Earl and we've got, I've got those pigs. I think they're in here. But yeah, I've got, we have games where like we'll pass. I know I got koosh balls in here to throw at you this year. There's pigs in here. Oh yeah, I got pigs this year. So yeah, we got pigs and koosh balls. So like we pass them around. Like we'll do a game where it's like you answer the question and then you answer a question and then you throw the pig to the next person and that person has to answer whatever question I throw at them. So, and we did Earl the rubber chicken, who I think lives on top of the fridge now because Ozzy tried to murder him. Yeah. Yeah. These guys were great. I had to get, when they come in my colors, I have to get, Ozzy, don't eat the koosh ball. Good boy, thank you. Yeah, I made throw a koosh ball at somebody in class to answer a question. Oh, that's the way. I'll fix it. Yeah. Good. What else? Anything else? Yeah.
So you mentioned a little thing. You mentioned something last year that the you were thinking about doing one lab team for the whole year, or like one lab team name for the whole year.
Oh, names. Okay. So what we're gonna do for names this year is you're gonna have a choice. So every team picks a name and sometimes they're really creative and sometimes they got really old. What was the one of armadillos? Awkward armadillos, 2.0, 3. I mean, okay, how many times are we doing awkward armadillos? So you're gonna have a choice this year. You can come up with your own name or you can take from the shuffle. So I'm gonna shuffle. I have laminated pages, like there's a logo and it goes on your tray for your lab team. I make the logo. I decide what your picture is gonna be. For the males, this was
This was pre.
This was pre-Ukrainian invasion.
Yeah.
But I did the picture of Putin on the horse with no
Sure.
shirt because it was the males and we did like a big male symbol around it. And he was riding and that was theirs. But anyway, so you get the shuffle and whatever one comes out of the shuffle is what you get. So it may apply to you or it may not. Like it may be like, we had one that was like the female dragon thing or when I was all dragons, they were all princessy. Dudes might get that. I don't care.
Super Rainbow Powerpuff Ponies. and things.
Okay, is that your next one? Because I want to do that logo.
If that was. If Awkward Armadillo gets old, that's what I'm.
All right. Anybody else any questions? Are we good? You guys are great. I'm super excited for this year. It's gonna be fun. This is a fun class. This one's a little more flexible than some of the others, especially when it comes to lab. And I like that. The labs aren't so high pressure. Like when we did chemistry, you have got to get it done. And you have that hour and a half or whatever time is designated and you got to move. Like you can't be goofing around and sometimes things don't get done and you got to wait for them. So I had video of them doing they were swirling, doing phenolphthalein in the little drippy, drip by drip. And they were counting like 145, 146, and it went on and on. So these are a little more flexible and they're fun. We're going to build hurricane-proof houses. We're going to construct a little scale model of the solar system outside where you basically have to convert everything down to a smaller scale and then run from one planet to the next. That's fun. We're going to go rock hounding down in my backyard, which goes down to the river, pick a rock. And you'll get to decide what it is by using a dichotomous tool, which is online. It's great. Is it this or that? Is it this or that? And you work your way through it. It's fun stuff. It's good stuff. Everybody good? I'm excited. It's a good group. It's a really good group. And we still have, like I said, we still have room for juniors. So if you know any friends want to join or younger siblings or whatever, send them my way. It'd be good to have just a few more, not just so that it's a little more lively in the class when you have more people. Yeah, a little more lively. All right.
It'll be live.
It'll be lively. That's true. You guys are always lively.